Welcome to the city of frost and fire. You're going to discover the authentic stories of the extraordinary people that define our north of normal metro. I'm Conrad Fargo, and this is the Fargo Five. We've got Dr. Deutsch with us today, also known as Sylvester J. Fox. He not only is he a professor of physical education, but he's also the publicly elected Fargo Park Board Commissioner for 18 years. Hello, Dr. Deutsch.
How are we doing today, Conrad?
So you wanted to tell me, you said right away, you said, I want to make sure we talk about this thing I have going on. And I said, that's great for the fresh. So you've got coming up here is this for the park board, I assume? Something's opening up. Tell me about it.
Yeah. So our sports center out south of Walmart, right along the interstate out there. We're talking 400,000 square feet sports center. It's a full track of almost 400 meters on the inside of field turf. Okay, it's it's currently 4 basketball courts / volleyball courts.
Oh, wow.
And in January we're adding 4 more, so it'll be a total of 8 basketball courts / volleyball courts.
And where did you say this is at?
Just south of Walmart on
52nd. On 52nd down there?
But no, south of Walmart, so south of 52nd. 52nd would be the exit that you would take off of 29.
Yeah, so even further than that.
Yep.
So how far? So this is pretty far south.
We're talking a quarter to a half a mile south of Walmart, but straight south. Like Walmart butts up on the interstate, the sports center.
This is almost kind of near that Davies area.
Yeah, well, but on the other side of the interstate.
Okay.
Davies is on 25th
So
Street.
if you lived in Davies, you'd have to come up and around 52nd, or is there?
Nope. If you have there's an overpass. It doesn't have on-off ramps on it, but there's an overpass that comes from the Davies side over.
I didn't. Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm a realtor at Berkshire Hathaway Home Service Properties, but I can't keep track of all the developments because that overpass is relatively new, right? I don't know if I've jumped over that yet.
And to a certain extent, for our purposes of the sports center and having tournaments on the weekends and stuff, it I don't want to say it's useless, but without on-off ramps, it's not a useful tool. I mean, yes, we can get the people from the east side of Fargo over there to Sanford for their trainings and for practices and stuff during the week. But as far as people coming from Sioux Falls and people coming from the cities to come here for a tournament or whatever, they're going to have to get off at that 52nd Avenue exit and then turn left at Walmart and snake back to the sports center back there. But we have an indoor playground that's going to be in there. We have 6 brand new pickleball courts. We're going to have 2 sheets of ice that'll come on board here in January. So it's half open right now. We got the turf open. We got 4 courts open. We've got all of our Park District offices. So we used to be down at the depot in downtown Fargo, and we're not in the depot anymore. Everybody's moved their offices out to the new sports center out here south of Walmart. So
everybody.
Yep.
So not just the park commission, but other people as well.
All of our full-time staff have offices in that new sports center now.
Being a park commissioner, how many hours a week does that take up of your time?
Yeah, so that can vary, and it can vary for a couple of different reasons, depending upon your level of interest and involvement with diving deeper. But, we also have a president, a vice president, and then 3 other commissioners. So there's a total of 5 of us. So I just came off my 5th presidency in my 18 years. Wow. And so you cycle through because it ends up being a lot more work for you the year that you're a vice president and then the president or whatever. We're the ones that sign up, but we have full-time staff that are amazing and do a great job.
Yeah.
So we just got done doing a strategic plan, brand new strategic plan for the Park District, the governance policies. So we kind of dictate mission, vision, values, and then we let our staff run with the day-to-day operations.
Yeah, because you guys are just the executive board.
Correct.
And so
we all have,
your
so to speak, real jobs.
Yeah. And your job is to just make the executive decisions and then see that they're implemented. Then you actually have staff who do the work and perhaps volunteers, or just all staff.
We definitely do have some volunteers for major events, but for the most part, we're working with directly with our full-time staff, and the hiring of part-time staff for the summer, like lifeguards and that sort of stuff. So.
Once, and I'm just I'm actually curious. So I'm sorry for the prying, but like seriously, how many hours do you really think it is like a week? That just I'm trying to paint a picture of the moving parts of this whole organization. So you've got how many full-time staff and how many moving parts on the board? How many full-time or how many hours?
I can't remember the number of our full-time staff right off the top of my head, but we obviously have different. A whole bunch of different departments with our full-time staff in it, from the finance to our recreation to our parks.
And this is all just the park board itself.
These are the park. No, this is the
park
Fargo
department,
Park District.
The park district, which is run by the park board. But
Correct.
It's the park board who is the executive, and so they're like combined. You guys are like the CEO of it. I'm just trying to paint a picture of the organizational structure.
We have an executive director, Susan Faust, and she is the CEO. But at the end of the day,
and that's different from the president of the board.
Right.
Okay.
The president of the board is the five of us are part-time elected commissioners who are here's how I explain it to people the simplest. You elected me to represent you. Mm-hmm. You can't the 3,000 citizens from Fargo can't call in and say, I have concerns about the flowers at Trollwood and that sort of stuff on a daily basis. So you elect your commissioners to represent you, on the board. So I talk to my constituents, I get their thoughts, feelings, and opinions, and I come back and represent the masses in what it is that I do. A real quick other explanation that's different about the state of North Dakota than, say, the state of Minnesota is that the Park District is its own public entity. We take our own mills, meaning we collect our own taxes, and we are an independent organization with an elected board. The city of Fargo City Commission, they have their own elected board members. They have their own budget, they have their own departments. But if you go to, say, Minnesota or most other states, the recreation department is just another department under the city's preview and budget. And they usually kick the least amount of money down the bottom to the recreation because that's not the one that's banging on their door demanding money. So one of the beautiful things about the Park District and the amenities that we have in Fargo and the recreational opportunities that we have here is that you're not trying to convince a mayor who's got 800 other priorities in front of him that you should get some pickleball courts here. You're calling people whose job is parks and recreation and saying we need pickleball park courts in this community. And we're like, yeah, you're right, we do. I know about as much about the need for pickleball courts as you do. And we collect our own budget and our own monies, and so we can afford to do some of those things.
Where do those tax dollars come from then, and how do they get approved?
So it's there. We take what are called mills, which is the equivalent of, I think they say, like from the Park District, it's like $4.50 on every $100,000 that your house is worth. So if you per mill, and so it comes in property taxes.
Part of the property taxes,
And so you're paying for that, and like I said, in the process, you're electing board members to represent you and represent your dollars in what they're being used for.
But as a board, do you have direct authority to just set any arbitrary number of mills? If you guys decided to do 1 million mills, who could stop you?
That's a really good question and a conversation we probably don't want to have.
Well,
right
no,
now.
I'm just curious on the moving parts. I'm not passing judgment. I'm just like, what's to stop you? Nothing really. There is a
maximum increase that we can do per.
Oh, okay,
per year.
so it's legislatively
it is legislatively that you can only increase a certain percentage each year. But there's also a professional courtesy, if you want to call it that we wouldn't, that we're representing the people. And let me tell you, when your mills go up, when your property taxes go up,
there's political ramifications. Of course.
You get phone calls from people saying, "Wow, that sports center is amazing. I'm so glad you built it. My grandkids will use that forever." So we're talking to that older generation. Then I have other people saying, "I'm retired. I'm on a fixed income. I can't afford it," and they can really see their taxes because they're not making a mortgage payment.
Yep.
And so but we have local control of our dollars is what it is. And the reason I'm saying I don't know if we want to go down this road, because I'm sure you're fully aware that there's this initiative out there.
It sure is.
Talking about abolishing property taxes. And what would ultimately happen if that happened is it would freeze where we're at with our mills at the moment. It would go to Bismarck. And Bismarck would would pay the money, I'm assuming, initially out of the rainy day fund that we have literally billions of dollars in.
Well, I think that's an interesting conversation to be had. And I'm not sure. So it's not political to talk about just the moving parts here. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. And so like with the measure to get rid of property taxes, people say, well, gosh, why wouldn't we want to get rid of property taxes? And I think it's hard to wrap the head around. And I don't know that the advertising campaigns explain it very well. I was on the board of the HBA, now the BIA. What did they read? They just renamed themselves. Anyway, the Public Issues Committee. And they explained it to me, and I'd never thought about it that way. But yes, it keeps the money local, having those property taxes, because the property taxes are collected locally and then spent locally. Whereas if or when we get rid of those property taxes, now the park and all that stuff, how is it going to get funded? Well, the money's coming straight from Bismarck.
Well, initially my understanding is they would take it out of the rainy day fund, right? That Burgum set up. That's all that oil money that's being derived. That literally has $3 billion in it, I believe, right now. Okay, like literally $3 billion in it.
Just sitting there.
And initially that's where the first year would be paid out of there. Then the state would figure out how they're going to tax you in some other capacity to try to recoup those dollars. But what it would do is it takes the idea of increases or decreases, for that matter, out of my hands as a commissioner at the local level, and it leaves it in the state legislators' hands that are in Bismarck. So what I'm saying is when somebody calls me and says, hey, can you put more garbage cans out on, people cleaning up their dog waste, but they don't have any place to throw it because there aren't enough cans out there. I might go to people and they might say, sorry, Joe, we just don't have the money. And I'm buckled because we don't have control of our funds, and we can't just, take extra monies whenever, so to speak, or find extra monies necessarily when we need to or want to. So my answer to you is that that you are going to get taxed in some other capacity. We don't know what it is yet. I don't know what it is yet. It could be, even a sales tax. I don't know what it is. But at the end of the day, if the entire state of North Dakota's local property taxes had to come out of, even Bismarck, if there's $3 billion in that rainy day fund, it's going to go dry in a short period of time if they don't find some other revenue source to pay for the local taxes, because it's not like we're going to not get that money anymore. We're still getting that.
There might end up being a short-term tax relief, but it seems like it could come at the cost of local control.
100%.
Yeah, interesting.
And you don't realize, I just can tell a citizen, you don't realize what that loss of local control is going to feel like until you all of a sudden feel it. And when you feel it, you're not going to like it, and there's nothing we're going to be able to do about it anymore.
That's a very interesting analysis, and I think there's still pros and cons to be said on either way, and I'm not passing any kind of judgment. So I think we can have that conversation all day. I appreciate your technical insight on that. So great way to end the segment. We're going to move next into frequently asked questions. So don't go nowhere.